So we're going to do a multi-view sketch using our isometrics that we've already been making. We're going to do a top, a front, and a right view, and I went ahead and used the one that we were using from perspectives, from our multi-point perspectives, single point vanishing, 2-point vanishing perspective images earlier, because it's already labeled with the top, a front, and a right. When we do this, we've got to make sure that we leave ourselves enough room around it that we could actually put on some measurements. So later on we will actually be dimensioning these objects, and that will go on this image. So we got to make sure we leave some room around the outside edges. If you notice, I've got a little bit of an outline down here. If I were to go ahead and add on the rest of this little piece over here, that would go to the edge and we wouldn't have enough room. So we're going to move that over. So if we made this just a standard 1, 2, and 3 tall by 1, 2, 3, and then our extra one back here 4 long, it would only be about this long, so about there to there, and only about this tall, so right there to there. So the whole outline of our object would be about like that. That's an awful small image. So we really don't want to make it that small. So in this case, to make our images be sized proportionally to what we would like, we're going to go ahead and for every one block over here, or one line segment over here, we're going to do 2 line segments over here, 2 blocks. So the length of this is 3, so we're going to multiply it by 2, so we're going to make it 6 long. And I'm going to skip over a couple more, so I'm going to bring that over here. About 4 from the bottom and about 4, let's go 5 from the edge. So we're going to bring this over. So I'm going to go 2 times 3, so I'm going to go over 6. There. The height for this rectangle is 1, 2, so it's going to be 4 high. So we can go ahead and make that rectangle. And then we're going to go back, and I'm making these a little bit dark for the video. We really don't want to make them super dark. It makes it harder to erase if we make a mistake, as you can see down here. And it can get confusing if we're working with that. Now, when we're looking at this, we're looking at it straight on, straight down. So if we're looking at it from this side, we're not going to see any of the other sides. We're just going to see this front side. So what we need to do now is look at this, and remember from previous images, this is what we were actually looking at. So this shows from the left, which we wouldn't normally see in an isometric, but it shows from the left side and shows you this extends all the way down. It's 1 block wide and goes up across, goes 2 blocks up, and then goes over out 2 blocks from there too. So that's actually what we're looking at. So we're looking at it from the front side, so we're actually going to see this upside down backwards L shape right here. So that is going to extend out. It was right even with the bottom down here. So it was 1 block wide, so it is going to extend out. Multiply by 2. And the total height of it was 3. So we're going to multiply that by 2 to go 6. 6. And if we look at how long this is across here, that's 1, 2 blocks. So times 2 should be 4. 2, 4. And then that's going to come right straight down. Now, this object, do we have anything behind it that we don't see that would actually be lines? And there's nothing there. So this is a flat base back on the back. So we're not going to have any hidden lines. Otherwise we'd use dotted lines. So we're not going to have any hidden lines in that image. So now what we want to do is we want to take this and we want to bring this up for our top view. Basically, any line that we see on this image is going to become a reference point for our other images. So we bring those up, bring these vertical lines up. So now we have our outermost points, so we know this needs to be the outermost point. It cannot be wider than the images that are vertical images, can't be wider than each other, and horizontal images can't be taller than each other. So we know that our maximum length of our object is here and here because of those lines we followed up. These must be lined up. When we do dimensioning on these later, we have to have them lined up, otherwise our dimensioning becomes much more complicated and then it's incorrect. So we can go ahead and draw. If we're looking down at this from the top, we know that this is going to come across. So we're looking this corner right here is this corner right here. So we're going to go over 1, 2, 3, so it's going to go over 6. We realize this was indented, So if we're looking down from the top, we're going to see a little gap right in here. So there's not going to be something there. There's going to be a gap right in here. This goes back, if we're looking straight down from the top, this section goes back 2, so it's going to be back 4. Comes across 2. Multiplied by 2 gives us 4. And then we're going to have this little top section cut in there, so it's going to come down like this. And it goes across 1, 2, so it's going to be 4. Part of it goes across 4. Draw it down. So now what do we have left? We have this little segment right here. So we're going to draw that segment. So notice, what do we have down here? Notice this line matches up with the line up here. This line matches up with the line up here. Our outside edges match up with a line. So it's very useful to use those as a reference point for where your object is actually going to be. Is this the correct width? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, because we did the double. Okay. Do the same thing coming across this way. We use these as a reference. We usually won't see these also, but we're going to use them as a reference to help us keep track of what's going on, especially when we start, to make sure we have all the lines we actually would see in this object. So look at our horizontal lines. We got 3 horizontal lines. We brought those over. So now we're going to be looking from the right side view. So I'm going to start with this larger box here, square as it be, and we're going to start right here in the corner. So it is 2 by 2, so multiplied by 2 because we upped the scale. So it's going to be 4 by 4. What do you notice? Bottom edge. There was one of our reference lines. Notice that is the top edge of that. So now we come up here to this, come up to our top edge. Where's this at? This is at the back edge of our right side, so it's right back here. So we're looking straight on from this side, so we're going to see a little square at the top edge. It comes over 1 block, so our scale it's 2. Comes down 2. Okay, so now we have that drawn out. Notice we've got our reference lines, and we see those reference lines over here. Is there anything that we cannot see if we were to look from this side? Is there anything, drop-offs, ledges, little hidden caves, that we just can't see when we're looking from this side that we normally would be able to tell from somewhere else? And the answer is yes. If we look down here right behind this, if we look straight back, there is a drop back here, a little chunk taken out that we can't see that from what we're looking at in the image here, but we know it goes all the way down. So that is a hidden line. This is why we typically don't leave these. These might start to get confused with a hidden line, but there is a hidden line, means something's back there that we can't see in this image. And if we look, we can actually see there's a hidden line. There's something hidden back here. Was there anything hidden from the top view? No, that goes all the way through, so we didn't have anything that would disappear. So another way to check is if we didn't have this image in the road, it'd be a little bit easier. But what we do is we come across, and this is another reference angle. So we come across here, come across here. You're going to see me draw across my image a little bit. And our other reference line right here. And what we do is we look and notice if we were to draw a diagonal right across here. So if we did this before we attached our isometric to our multi-view image, we would notice that we also have a reference line here. That everywhere we had a reference line on these images now hit the diagonal and come immediately down and become another reference line. And that's how we do our multi-view sketches.